I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, February 26th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The NHL returned from its Olympic break. We had exciting action in the NBA, and one of the more baffling second halves of basketball you will ever see. Not just for a college basketball game, but for any basketball game. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Mackenzie, let's start with the action in the NBA, where you gave out a free play on the Detroit Pistons last night in a marquee matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And at the time when you gave out the free play, the Pistons were 8-point favorites over the Thunder. It was then announced that Chet Holmgren was not going to play for the Thunder, and the line ballooned to the Pistons minus 10.5. Now, the Thunder were also dealing with some other injuries as well, but when it was all said and done, Cade Cunningham scores, 27 points last night, as I think, he had 28 points last night, excuse me. No, 29. We're both wrong. Cade Cunningham scored 29. Jalen Duren scored 29. Pistons win 124-116, lands on a push of the number of 8.
It's very interesting because Chet Holmgren hasn't gone over his points prop in a month, but he's clearly been the Thunder's best player. And no Holmgren, no Hartenstein, no SGA, no Jalen Williams, although Jalen Williams scores 30 in this game and is their best player. And we talk about the system in college, but at some point we got to just give deference to Mark Daigneault and the system that they're building in Oklahoma City or have built. Really nobodies. And Detroit seemed like they wanted the game, needed the game, had to battle back from a first quarter deficit. Cade Cunningham kind of had the opposite game that he had against the Spurs. He was very much not going to shoot himself out of it. 5 for 26 for the Spurs, only took 16 in this one. But no rim protection eventually helped us get to the over on our prop play there. But I came away very impressed by what the Thunder, outside of their real starters, besides all of their starters, what they're able to do.
Yeah, and that prop play that we did have last night for Better Day Insider and Premium members was Cade Cunningham to go over his points prop, which he does that with ease. So great call there. But the injuries, Mackenzie, are starting to mount up here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are without, or they have injuries to their top 6 scorers. We're not just talking about the top 3 or 4, right? Which they were already without their top 4 last night in Shea, Jalen Williams, Mitchell, and Chet Holmgren, and Isaiah Hartenstein. And it's crazy. These injuries starting to add up for a team, but are you concerned over them here down the stretch run of the regular season? Or is this a team that, thanks to going through the whole rigor of the postseason last year and winning the NBA championship, knows what it takes to go through that grind, and therefore is just buying their time to be healthy for the next 3-month stretch, the 3-month stretch, I should say, that is the NBA playoffs?
I think they're the best team in the NBA. I think at plus 130, they are a decent bet. I wouldn't be taking the Bricks truck out to bet on them, but I do think if I had to make one bet, gun to my head, I think plus 130 to win the title is the most likely odds. I would probably put it more like 50-50, so minus 110. But I'm starting to look at the Spurs very hard. They've won 10 straight games. If they can
Yeah,
get
what
home
an
court
impressive,
advantage.
what a run. What a run. 10 straight wins, as you mentioned. They beat the Raptors 110-107 last night.
They're only 2 games out of the 1 seed. And if they get the Thunder coming to their building in 4 games with Wemby's kind of tailor-made defensive game to what SGA wants to do offensively, I could, for the first time, I could see the Spurs winning it, maybe more so than the Nuggets and the Rockets. I was late to the party, but I think I have a new tier in the West, and it's Thunder and Spurs, with the Thunder having the pole position, but the Spurs being there, and then you go Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets, and maybe another drop-off before you get to the Timberwolves.
Well, I mean, if you think that's the case, then there's bets to be made right now. Up on FanDuel, the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the Western Conference are -125. The Nuggets are the second favorite at +390. Then the Spurs at +550, followed by the Rockets at +1,300. The odds to win the NBA title, the aforementioned Oklahoma City Thunder are the favorite at +135. And then it's the Denver Nuggets at +600, followed by the San Antonio Spurs at +950. It sounds like you want to place a bet on the Spurs +550 to win the West.
Yeah, I think they're the best odds, maybe to win that West in that particular market. In 2023, when the Nuggets won without beating a 50-win team, but they won it. It was supposed to be the coming of the age of offense, and they were the first team not in the top half of defense for the season to win a championship. But now you look at the Pistons, you look at the Thunder last year, you look at the Celtics when they won it. I think even though scoring's up across the board and efficiency's up across the board, I think the old adage defense wins championships may be as true as ever. And I think it was a blip. It was the best player in the world being the best player in the world for 4 weeks in 2023. But I think that's going to prove the exception, not the rule. I think the Thunder and then the Spurs would be the teams I would expect to come out of the West.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all with the way, certainly, that they have been playing. Elsewhere on the schedule last night, it was the Warriors, a 133-112 win over the Grizzlies. Rockets blow out the Kings 128-97. The Bucks upset the Cavs 118-116. Not much to take away from this game, though, Mackenzie. No James Harden and no Donovan Mitchell for Cleveland last night.
Yep, Cavs punted on the game, a casualty of the schedule. What I thought was going to happen to the Thunder with nobody playing, but man, 8 through 12 on the Cavs is no great shakes. They probably shouldn't have even been favored on the road in the game with who ended up playing.
That makes sense. And then the Celtics on the second of a back-to-back in Denver. We talk about that being a great fade spot, and it certainly was last night. Nuggets get the 103-84 win over the Celtics. Jokic with 30 points and 12 boards. No triple-double, though, only 6 assists. Jaylen Brown in the loss after sitting out the night before last night. Well-rested, 23 points, 11 boards, 3 blocks. So he goes under his points prop once again. But another big rebounding performance from Jaylen Brown, Mackenzie.
This is one of the great streaks of all time.
And
34 rebounds.
They're all
0 offensive.
rebounds.
0 offensive. I mean, it's mostly about 20% of your rebounds are offensive. Going 34-0 is truly remarkable stuff. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he's partitioning his energy where he sees fit, and he's been off now under 40% his last 2 games shooting-wise.
I have never seen anything like this. And could it be like the Ramadan thing? Could he be fatigued? Okay.
I mean,
by the way,
it's very much in vogue not to go after offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And it's like if a player just decides I'm not doing that, it kind of goes unnoticed, but the numbers are starting to get astronomical.
Okay, Mackenzie, I'm looking at his game logs. This streak goes back even further. Okay. The last time Jaylen Brown had an offensive rebound, this is unreal. Hold on. I'm going back to February 6th right now to look at his box score. He had one offensive rebound on February 6th. Okay. So that means that he has had 11, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 38, 42 consecutive rebounds without an offensive rebound.
What's 0.2 to the 48th power? One over that.
Is this the greatest streak we've ever seen in sports?
It's honestly like DiMaggio has nothing on this. It's like it's 10 to the power of 33. It's not a real number. This is an impossible streak that's been going on.
I wonder if, like, hold on, like,
Oh, no, I gotta do 0.8 actually. Oh, it's 1 in 45,000. All right, my bad.
all right,
It's only 1 in 45,000.
okay, because I'm so curious, Mackenzie. Like, I gotta go further. I'm sorry, I gotta dive further here because we have his per game numbers here. I need his full career stats. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
This season, he has 302 defensive rebounds and 57 offensive rebounds. In his career, 2,904 defensive rebounds, 663 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I mean that is like a scoring guard, a box scored filler type stats. 83% for his career defensive rebounds. So
42 straight.
Yeah,
Could
he's now gone on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, we need the sports books to start like listing the stats. Like, will Jaylen Brown have an offensive rebound tonight?
Minus 800 on the no.
It's every game. It's no. It's unbelievable. 42 straight rebounds. Okay. Let's move on to tonight's schedule in the association. Talk about any games that you have an early feel on here, Mackenzie. Charlotte Hornets are at the Pacers up on FanDuel. The Hornets are laying 13 on the road. The Heat visit the 76ers. Philly, a 1.5-point home favorite. The Spurs, on the second of a back-to-back, will be in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Spurs laying 13.5 on the road. Do they make it 11 straight wins tonight?
Model loves them. Number one play by the model. Yeah, they're gonna. I'm not sure if they're gonna cover. Don't have the confidence my model has, but they're gonna make it 13 straight. By the way, Hornets Pacers, that total seems way too low. We saw what the Sixers did, putting up 140 on the Pacers. It's not a real outfit. Rick Carlisle could complain about tanking violations, but the Hornets, they're gonna stretch their wings a little bit in this game.
Would you rather play the over 230.5, or would you rather do a Hornets team total over?
I'm saying 228.5 here at DraftKings. So they're, shop around. Because it's such a big spread, I think the Pacers might get hot. I think I'd rather just stick with the game total.
Okay. Wizards are at the Hawks. Atlanta laying 11.5. The Rockets 2-point favorites at the Magic. You have the Blazers 4-point favorites at the Bulls. Kings at the Mavericks. Dallas laying 7.5. We'll find out what's happening with Cooper Flag, as we talked about his eligibility for Rookie of the Year being just questionable, but also just the odds. We've talked about how many times we think Con Kneppel is going to win this award. So we'll see if those odds start to shorten up. It's you know what I love, Mackenzie, about like our show. I'm not saying we influence like the conversation, but I love how ahead of the conversation we are. Because we're a morning show. We release the newsletter. We every morning up on betterday.com. We have the conversations late night here on the West Coast. And then, it's like during the day, it's the conversations that we had that night. And where it's like we're putting it out there into the ether,
Oh yeah, we're first to market.
We were
talking about Con Kneppel at plus 450.
Exactly.
Well, that would be a great bet now because now Cooper Flag down to minus 300.
Yep.
Con Kneppel plus 220.
Yep. Lakers minus 4.5 at the Suns tonight. The Pelicans minus 4.5 at the Jazz, and the Timberwolves visit the Clippers, Minnesota, 5.5-point favorites. All right, we have to get into college basketball because last night we saw a couple of things. One of the craziest stats I have ever seen from a college basketball game or any basketball game occurred in that St. John's and UConn game. And then we also have to give credit to an incredible betting angle that has been founded by one of the VSiN producers, Luke DeVista. First, let's get into the incredible stat that occurred last night when UConn demolished St. John's 72-40. Now, UConn 16-2 in the Big East. They're in first place. St. John's falls to 15-2 in the Big East. St. John's, Mackenzie, scored 14 points in the entire second half. They did not make a basket in the final 17 minutes and 28 seconds of the game. Let that sink in. They only made 2 field goals in the second half. They did not hit a single shot for the final 17 minutes and 28 seconds. That alone is an incredible stat. They missed their final 24 shots of the game. We talk about Jaylen Brown, 42-0 with the defensive rebounds. St. John's was 0 of 24 to end the game from the field. Okay. The stat, though, that's crazy, and this is courtesy of Ryan Hammer on Twitter. UConn had a 41-26 lead at the half. They could have dribbled out the shot clock every single possession and still won the game 41-40.
They probably wouldn't have even allowed 14 points because they would have been able to get back on defense.
Clock, yeah.
So this is kind of old versus new, Pitino versus
Hurley
UConn coach. Yeah, Hurley. Wow, what an ass whipping.
That's unbelievable.
Welcome to the modern college basketball. Rick Pitino.
Never seen anything like that. It was a dominant day in the top 25. If all you did was play every top 25 team last night to cover, Mackenzie, you crushed it because it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. The only top 25 team that did not cover was number 12 Nebraska, who closed as a 16-point favorite, and they won their game by 13 points. So that was one where you had to maybe shop around, and maybe you could have gotten an earlier line, but I actually don't even think it got to that point. But 6-1 last night, ATS for teams, top 25 teams, not including St. John's because that was a matchup between two top 25 teams. But let's give credit to a betting angle that I was made aware of about a week or so ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I started following this, but not betting it, but just following it. And I wish that I was betting it this weekend because it went 6-0 this weekend. But I did bet it last night, and it did go 2-0. And that is the betting angle from VSiN's Follow the Money producer, Luke DeVista, who Luke is an incredible producer at VSiN. He's been producing Follow the Money for a while. He's on Twitter if anybody wants to follow him, at LukeDIV. So at LukeDIV. And what Luke has done is uncovered an incredible betting angle that this season, since he's been tracking this and betting this, you ready for this record, Mackenzie?
Lay it on me.
37-10 against the spread.
What's that, 78%?
That's like almost 79%, yes.
That must be a very complicated model with all kinds of contingencies and flags and regression analysis. How is he doing it? How is he hitting 78%?
So what he's doing is he is basically comparing a couple of analytical sites as well as VSiN sources to determine if all the sides, if the three sources that he's sourcing, if they agree on one team being the favorite, but the sports books list the team as an underdog.
So wait, now this is a 37-10 underdog trend.
Impressive. Yes. It's 37-10 ATS for the underdogs, yes. Okay. But keep in mind, the majority of these plays, out of the 47, I want to say probably 40 of them, right? The line is +1.5 or +1. Right? There really is no more +1s in college basketball or in any basketball. So it's +1.5. Yeah, it's +1.5. And so a lot of these games, and basically it's a simple system that what Luke is doing is he's tracking these sites as well as VSiN sources to see like if they all agree. And last night, it was two plays last night. It was Loyola Marymount +1.5. They actually came back from 15 down at the half to win by 1. And it was Charlotte +1.5 against North Texas. Ironically, both games, the Charlotte game and the Loyola Marymount game, they won by 1. Charlotte won 80-79, and Loyola Marymount won 67-66. So imagine if the line flipped and these teams became the 1.5-point favorites. They didn't cover the 1.5-point line.
And they wouldn't fit the system.
Exactly, because they both won by 1. But this is the thing, like, he's looking at these games and determining, oh, here's all these short dogs at +1.5. Oh, well, I have 3 reliable sources that say that they should be favored -1.5, but yet I go up on FanDuel and I see that they're +1.5. I'm going to bet it at +1.5. And so far, I mean, it is crushing 47-10 and 2-0 last night. And I just think it's crazy how the 2-0 last night, again, if there was a flip in the favorite, which I believe there was in one of those games, I think it was the Loyola game that flipped to the -1.5. They don't cover the -1.5. So it's only +1.5 that you play it.
Yeah, and you're always going to be good if either team wins by 1 with a +1.5. I've monitored a lot of trends in my time looking at sports betting, and almost always I've seen, if it gets to this proportion, 50 games almost, it's a favorite trend or it's an under trend. Because at best, in my perception, maybe this is not true, an underdog at best has a 50-50 chance of winning the game outright. Like maybe there shouldn't be an underdog. It's hard to say that there should be a big favorite. But I think what he's detecting here is the voice of the sports book. And we talk about this all the time with the system in general. When the Vegas market, the Vegas hand, the economic term hand, has an opinion, it's kind of shaping, how we receive it as bettors. And when they're saying, all right, this team should be favored, people are like, all right, I guess they should be favored. Maybe they should be favored by less. A lot of these are 1.5 and not 2.5. But it's hard to go to the other side once a favorite has been established, and sometimes we see it. But the betting market might not be as on it as Bart Torvik and these other metrics that are tracking this stuff as consistently as anybody.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, some of these games, there could be differing opinions. Because the game is lined so tightly, one book might have +1.5, another book might have -1.5. But if you see multiple books that have the +1.5, then and all the analytic sites that he's sourcing have the other team as favored, then maybe like that one book, like let's say Circa might be like the sharp edge, the sharp one that has the -1.5. That's the right side, and so betting the +1.5 has just been extremely profitable. I mean, listen, we can't ignore results here. This is just incredible. Yeah. 37-10 against the spread. So once again,
predictions. One, it's going to be 53% or better the rest of the year. He's caught on to something. Two, it will not be 78%. It's going to be between 53 and 78 is my bold prediction.
Yeah.
On this man's excellent work.
Yeah, and listen, I was hesitant to even talk about it on the pod, but he did a segment on with Mitch and Paulie yesterday. So I'm like, listen, if you're going to do a segment on with Mitch and Paulie, like I'm going to react to it,
Right, it is now in the ether.
Exactly, and I definitely want to give him a shout out because Luke does incredible work. So if you do want to follow him on Twitter, it is @LukeDIV. So he does a great job there for Mitch and Paulie on Follow the Money on VSiN every single day, Monday through Friday, and now crushing it with this college basketball angle. So good job, Luke, man. Great job out of you. Great job indeed. Taking a look at the schedule here in the top 25 for tonight. Only one game, and it is a top 25 matchup in the Big Ten, where number 8 Purdue is a 7.5-point favorite up on FanDuel over number 13 Michigan State. All right, Mackenzie, the NHL returned from its Olympic break. Let's talk about the results.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might just sell credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/secure. Protect yourself now at aura.com/secure.
Want to know why betting the winter games on FanDuel makes sense? From game lines to medal counts to finding your angle on the events you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. Curling matches that start slow and somehow get tense fast. Speed skating decided by inches. Hockey games that feel different from the opening face-off, and so much more. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 or over and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
The NHL returned from its Olympic break last night, Mackenzie, and we talked about a lot of trends going into the break and trying to figure out how to bet this after the Olympics. And we talked about the overs potentially. We talked about the dogs on the puck line. Well, favorites actually did really well last night. Let's see. Out of all the games, Buffalo, New Jersey was a pick'em. It was -110 both ways. Favorites went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 last night on the money line. On the puck line, they went 4 and 3. So, and the overs, we had some overs last night. We had 4 unders, 5 unders, and 1, 2, 3 overs. So,
but the overs made up for it if you're looking at that grand salami.
Oh my goodness, yes, because we had some high scoring games. You had the Golden Knights beat the Kings 6-4, and the Ducks beat the Oilers 6-5. Now we played some of these dogs. We played 3 money line dogs last night. We played the Mammoth over the Avalanche, and that was a loser as Colorado got the 4-2 win. But we played Vegas against the Kings, and that was a winner. And we played the Ducks over the Oilers, and that was a winner. A lot of people, especially, members in our chat, were, questioning why we were on Vegas. And a lot of people questioned me. Even Fez texted me and was like, hey, I'm betting against Vegas tonight.
You might have missed it, Scott, but actually a lot of the Vegas players were on the USA team. So, might have missed that one.
Mackenzie, let me talk about this, okay? So Fez texted me too, and Fez is like, hey, I'm betting against Vegas tonight with the Olympic hangover, right? And I go, Fez, don't do it. I said, you got to bet on Vegas tonight. And he's like, why? He's like, Olympic hangover. And I go, Fez, all 5 players that were in the Olympics for the Golden Knights are not playing in the game tonight. So there was no Olympic hangover, right? So Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Noah Hannafin, Mark Stone, Shea Theodore, all not playing for the Vegas Golden Knights last night. Most of them, obviously, the Team USA guys were at the White House yesterday or 2 days ago, right? And the Canadian guys also just getting a break. And we thought this would be the case, right? With some teams taking, some players taking some time off. But this is the thing. The market overreacts to things, Mackenzie. And this is where, as a sports bettor, if you can identify edges in the market, this is how you're going to be profitable. The public and the market overreacts to the top players for Vegas not playing in that game. But then, as I explained to our Better Day Insider and Better Day Premium members, I actually thought that those players not playing helped Vegas last night. Because if I'm a coach and I'm a player, I want to roll 4 lines deep of fresh legs. I want guys that have been chomping at the bit to get on the ice because they've been off for 2 weeks. They're ready to play, and their legs are fresh. If Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, Noah Hannafin, if they all played last night, they're probably tired as hell. Like, I got to imagine that it slows the team down with having those guys, with all the travel that they've been through, the grind that they just put their body through, going to the gold medal game and all that stuff. Like, to then play last night, I got to imagine that they were better off sitting out and having the fresh legs on the ice instead of those players, and it served them right. Vegas scored 5 goals in the third period, and also another part of the handicap was that the Kings were playing their first game without Kevin Fiala, who got hurt in the Olympics, and they were also using a backup goaltender in Anton Forsberg, who gave up 5 goals last night. So that's where you got to look for edges here in the betting market. Don't just say, hey, Jack Eichel's not playing, I'm going to bet on the Kings.
The bigger the name, usually the more accounted for or over accounted for it is in the betting line. So the 5 Vegas players, some of them, on that at the White House on the stage, very well seen over the last week, and their absence may be over adjusted for.
Yep, so nice cash for us last night. Let's take a look at this busy schedule for tonight and see if we can identify some edges early on here. You got the Blue Jackets at the Bruins. Boston, a short -115 favorite. Islanders visit the Canadiens. Montreal, a -155 favorite. Red Wings visit the Senators. Ottawa, -142. Maple Leafs are at the Panthers. Second of a back-to-back for Toronto, who just played last night in Tampa, losing 4-2 against the Lightning. And I don't know. I feel like first games back from the Olympic break, I might want to fade the teams on the second of a back-to-back. You know, they've just had 2 weeks off. Now they have to play 2 days in a row. Maybe that hurts them a bit for the game. So we'll take a look at that. Florida, heavy -166 favorite. Devils are at the Penguins. Pittsburgh -142. Same thing. Devils on the second out of a back-to-back for the Penguins. Sidney Crosby, who got injured in the Olympics, is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, they say, with an upper body injury. Lightning are at the Hurricanes, so second of a back-to-back for Tampa. Carolina -155. Flyers visit the Rangers. New York -122. Kraken at the Blues. St. Louis -135. Keep an eye on the availability of Jordan Binnington in this one. If he's in, we'll likely go Kraken team total to go under. It's also the second of a back-to-back for Seattle after they lost in Dallas 4-1. Last night. Elsewhere on the schedule for tonight, the Blackhawks are at the Predators. Nashville -175. The Wild visit the Avalanche. Colorado on the second of a back-to-back, and they are -155. Flames are at the Sharks. San Jose -125. And the Oilers and Kings both playing on the second of a back-to-back. This is a -110 split both ways. Keep an eye out for goaltender and player availability in that one. That'll wrap up this episode. Mackenzie, we are still tracking the action in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. Of course, this weekend is where we'll see the quarterbacks and some of the skill positions, not the linemen and defensive players that we're watching here during the week. Still waiting to see if any big news breaks in the NFL that might affect the way we think about some of these teams as we look to bet them here in the offseason. As always, hit us up on social media. Be sure to check out betterday.com. Daily free plays are posted right there on the homepage. And to learn how you can elevate your betting game by becoming a Better Day Insider or Premium member, click on the link on our homepage at betterday.com. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.